Microphone check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good evening, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
When the lights are out and you stumble in the dark, you kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels slow moves, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Daytona International Speedway, the SNN Truck Series is ready to start the 2024 campaign at the World Center of Racing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Daytona Beach, where these drivers have been waiting since November 7th of last year to get back on the track and find a way to win here in the SNN Truck Series for another season. It's been just 105 days since the end of the 2023 season when we saw the championship trophy lifted above victory lane in the desert sands of Phoenix. Tonight we look at the beginning of a new season just a stone's throw away from the beach sands of where our sport began here in the Sunshine State. Who will survive the mayhem, who will be the Duke of the Draft, and who will avoid the big one to celebrate in victory lane and capture the flag in the first race of the season. Let's find out together here as we open the 2024 season of the Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, glad to have all of you with us tonight. As I have to be honest, this is the end of a long series of races here over the last few days. Of course, Sunday with the Cup Series, then last night with the Xfinity Series, and tonight with the Truck Series. So yours truly pretty much exhausted here at the microphone, and the week isn't even over yet. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in here to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as qualifying is now underway here. Steve Herring, Gabriel Lafreniere, they are out here laying down the qualifying times as we see our neighbor from the north, Gabriel, here in the Truck Series. Of course, we're going to get this all quieted down here as Gabriel Lafreniere from St. Jude gets himself all wound up in the 06 Oxmoor F-150. Brian Tarnowski in the 28 Chevrolet Camaro from Waukesha, Wisconsin. He's getting ready to lay down lap number 2. Of course, things a little bit slow on lap 1 as, we're going to see many of these drivers on lap 1 be up here high on the racetrack. We can see Alex Princeton from Lake Elmo, Minnesota. He's kind of riding that outside line, trying to build up as much speed and as much energy in the 19 as possible. And, the way that these trucks handle, he's able to do that up there. Then all of a sudden squeezing himself down fairly close to that yellow line, maybe not necessarily on top of it because, you don't want to make that one mistake and catch the apron. So we see Alex Princeton here riding much closer to that bottom line. Of course, lap number 1 looks like it was negated. So as we get ready to rock and roll, we're going to see who's available here in the race race chat here. In fact, we're going to bring down Jeremiah Mullins, one of the 2 drivers who was able to make this possible tonight. Hey, Jeremiah, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
I'm good, man. Listen, I appreciate the contribution tonight and being part of the team here at Sim Racing Media. What are you thinking as we get ready to crank it up here at Daytona?
Kind of the same as last night. I mean, just keep it clean the whole race and give myself a shot at the end. Nothing too special. Daytona's kind of the same thing every time. It's all about staying clean and staying alive at the end.
Yeah, staying clean and staying alive is definitely, the key here at Daytona. And, some drivers are able to figure that one out, and other drivers, they just can't get it right every time. And we've got a couple of super speedway listeners or whisperers here in the Truck Series. And where do you fall in that category?
I mean, the truck's definitely not something I run all the time. This is kind of a newer series for me for this league. Just wanted to give it a shot. I do enjoy the trucks. Xfinity is definitely my go-to, but we're going to see how I can do. Truck feels great, and see if I can put this Bass Pro Shop Toyota Tundra in victory lane.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on being a partner here at SRM. We hope to be doing more things together as the season goes on, and of course, want a big shout out to Gorilla Gas, who of course I know that you're getting your setups from. So thank you, sir, and maybe we'll see you here at the end of one of these stages or in victory lane.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Thank you. As we're going to take Jeremiah, put him back on up here into the race chat, and we also want to get a hold of Randall Watkins out of Bandit Racing. Hey, Randall, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me, brother?
I got you, man.
Hey, man, listen, I was just talking to Jeremiah, and I would be remiss if I didn't check in with you as well. I want to thank you for your contribution so that we can be on the air tonight. What are you thinking as we get ready to crank it up here at Daytona?
I am praying for a better race than my last 2 because we just seem to get caught up in someone else's mess, and me and Kavaja both are hoping for a better turnout tonight, a better result anyway.
Yeah, there's nothing more frustrating than being in week 1 and dumb things happen. And I mean, I wouldn't say bad things, but it's more like dumb things that happen. And, you get yourself caught up, and it seems like no matter where you're trying to be on the racetrack, all of a sudden there you are and there's everybody else.
Exactly. And like last night, I told you that I was going to try to be patient and everything, and I should have known better because, like any race car driver, when that green flag drops, that goes right out to win the net. So.
Yeah, it definitely goes out the window net like a Dick Trickle cigarette butt. Last night in the Xfinity Series, I think that race was probably more exciting to watch than the Cup Series on Sunday. The Cup Series cars are so light that, I was listening to Richard Petty and Dale Inman talk about it on the podcast today, and they talked about the fact that those cars are so light that people want to go single file and stay away from one another. But last night we were side by side from almost the green to the checkered flag, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that tonight, as these trucks are as stable as the Cup cars, but as tough as the Xfinity cars.
I actually enjoyed the Xfinity cars last night. It was really fun with those cars. To me, the next gen, you just can't. I don't know. They kind of bounce around a lot in the draft, and not to mention the fact that you have to be real careful pushing someone because you have to kind of offset a little bit to the left, or otherwise you end up turning them to the right.
Yeah, it's definitely an art form. Bump drafting in and of itself is always difficult. So, I think you'll be able to use that front end a little bit more, kind of like give them the chrome bumper and shove them out of the way.
I just might do that tonight.
Attaboy. Well, listen, Randall, we appreciate you, and of course the Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue. My brother, we will talk to you later.
All right, man. Good to have you on board, and hopefully we'll see you at the end.
Yes, sir. All right, man. As we're going to send him on up there into Bandit Racing's chat here. Looks like just about everybody qualified. And, of course, not going to be able to get everybody in here, as it looks like Jeff Carson and Gregory Valade both have not been qualifying yet, with just about a minute and a half left. They won't have time, but Jeff Carson should make it in as a chartered driver. Looks like the cut line going to be in effect tonight, so we'll find that out momentarily. Hey, Chris, it's Dave. You got me?
Yeah.
Well, here we are for another opening race here in the SNN, family of racing series. Now, of course, last night we had the cut line at 38. Tonight's cut line going to be a little bit shorter.
Just a little bit, and we have about almost 10 more guys than can make the race. So it's unfortunately there's going to be a little bloodshed here in the next minute or two.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 32 that can make it.
36.
36, yeah. And at those 36 drivers, I mean, the racing that we've seen from Sunday through yesterday was really competitive all night long. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens as we get deeper here into tonight, once the green flag drops.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a shorter race, so the urgency is going to be ramped up for certain. I mean, it'll be probably similar to what you saw last night, a lot of double file and guys trying to, get the stage points and there's not going to be as many laps to get that good finish. So, even I'm going to have to race just a little bit differently, and I can't be quite as patient as I have been the first two races.
Yeah, Mr. Consistency can also be the prince of patience on the racetrack, and I'll tell you what, last night nearly paid off for you. I know that you didn't finish where you wanted to, but I mean, it's still, for me up here in the broadcast booth, it keeps it exciting, to watch, especially you guys that I know are almost like super speedway whisperers, yourself and Tony Bird, I know, sitting together tonight. So I expect big things out of you. You guys are going to both be my pre-race selections for who's going to finish in that top three tonight here. So I expect to be able to talk to both of you much later in the evening.
I would love that. I'll just go ahead and mark that down right now and take it.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and go get Tony Burt, but good luck tonight, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thanks, Dave.
That, of course, Chris Claude, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here, as he's going to be hanging out with Tony Burt tonight. We're going to get a hold of good old Tony. We're going to talk to this year's defending champion of the Daytona race, the spring Daytona race that is here. Tony Burt, Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dave. How's it going, buddy? Yeah, got you loud and clear.
Listen, man, you won this race a year ago, gave me a heart attack on the air. Folks, if you want to tune on back to that, you can go check that out. But, when Tony Burt gets on these super speedways, all of a sudden it's like you crank up the crazy just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. It was fun, though. It was a fun race last year for sure. This year is going to be a bunch of fun, too. I got to work on my qualifying, Dave. I don't know what's going on with my qualifying. I'm terrible at qualifying.
Well, you know, qualifying isn't for everybody, and it's okay if you don't qualify well. You proved last night as all but the biggest mover of the race, being able to finish up there, you know, high into the top of the pile here. You know, that qualifying doesn't really matter that much here at Daytona.
It really doesn't.
But all right, my friend, well, listen, you and Chris are my early race picks to finish in that top 3. I just told him, so go ahead and make me look like I know what I'm talking about.
10-4, buddy. We'll do it. I was a little distracted there trying to make sure I get all my stuff in there. And, yeah, we're going to have a good race, and it's going to be good for the broadcast for sure. And your all's broadcast last night, I checked into it, and then I watched it after the race. Really good. You all do a great job. We're so lucky to have you. And just proud to have you, too, man, to call you a friend and a brother, buddy.
Absolutely, my brother. Well, listen, good luck. Know that Jesus loves you, so do I, and have fun out there tonight.
Amen, brother.
All right, we're going to send Tony on back up into the Jack Dow Motorsports stable, as that's where he'll be hanging out for most of the evening. Warm-up underway here, so while that goes on, I'm going to take a look at the beautiful race information. 76 degrees in the stands tonight here in Daytona, the outdoor ambient air temperature. However, that track temperature just 76 degrees as well, so plenty of grip here in this 2.5-mile super speedway in Florida, and you know, a lot of history locked up in this old track, and I expect to see even more history laid down tonight here in the Truck Series on a Tuesday night. Of course, Tuesday nights, huge busy nights on Sim Racing Media. Of course, we say that it's you know, the most important night of the week, though, here, as we're going to take a quick look at our qualifying results. Alex Princeton going to sit on the pole tonight. Rich Jett and Mike Wright, Joe Stafford and Gabriel Lafreniere going to start in your top 5. Chris Claude netting himself a top 10 qualifying position, while Michael Danks qualifies in 10th. Michael Astuto is going to start in 11th position. Brian Tarnowski and Diego Rodriguez each starting in 17th and 18th as we move a little bit further here. A lot of these names we're going to be hearing time and time again, you know, like Tarnowski, Sylvain Joly, you know, Sean Kelly and Nolan Hodgson. Both of those drivers very experienced in this league, so I'm expecting to see big things. And, of course, as Chris had mentioned, 36 drivers going to make the cut. So Nick Hansen going to be starting shotgun on the field. The Faster Pastor going to be starting alongside our brother Tony Burt that we just spoke with here on the air. So Faster Pastor, Stoney Benfield going to be starting in 32nd. And I'll tell you what, for all of you that are tuning in from Pastor Benfield's church, I want to welcome all of you back to another year of Truck Series racing, as I know that we had some pretty good back and back as Dragon Saran dropping in. Hey, it's good to see you. 3 or 4 big ones, hopefully not in this race, but yeah, yesterday on the 500 it was definitely a pretty vicious race. But I know Pastor Benfield's church always tuning in here, so I'm excited to see those folks again. So you all know who you are, so tune in and check us out right here on YouTube.com. I want to thank you all for making us a part of your evening here on Sim Racing Media, as the warm-up session is just about wrapped up. And we see fastest in the warm-up is Ethan Eckert, as everything going to get itself reshuffled here. Drivers going to be invited to hop into their cars. Into their trucks, that is. You know, sometimes that's the hardest thing about my job, where I've got to remember, first of all, tonight it's trucks. It's not a Mustang, it's an F-150. It's not a Camaro, it's a Silverado, and it's not a Supra or a Camry, it's a Tundra. As we take a look here at our pole sitter out of Lake Elmo, Minnesota, Alex Princeton, just waiting for the Rich Jett in the double natural out of Schwanksville, Pennsylvania, waiting for him to hop in the old machine there. So Rich Jett going to be starting on the outside of row number 1. Mike Wright going to start on the inside of row number 2, joined by none other than Philadelphia's very own Joe Stafford in the 57. Gabriel Lafreniere from Saint-Just going to be starting on the inside of row 3, with Chris Claude starting on his outside from Fairview, Tennessee. Tane Hodison starting on the inside of row 4, joined by Brandon Minto from Norman, Oklahoma in the Kraft Macaroni and Cheese Ford F-150. Of course, usually he's tipping back some Miller Lights with Uncle Scott. So, Uncle Scott, if you're watching, welcome in. Glad to have you back for another season. Michael Danks and Ethan Eckert going to be in row number 5, while Randall Watkins, my brother from another mother from the Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue, going to be starting on the inside of row 6 with Michael Astuto. Row 7 going to feature Ron Fitting and Aaron Mack. Jeremiah Mullins and Diego Rodriguez going to start in row number 8. Row 9 going to feature John Crow Sr. and Chris Custer here in the 66 from Grease Monkey. Going to be starting his Silverado in 18th position. Brian Tarnowski out of Waukesha, Wisconsin, going to be in row 10 alongside Sean Kelly, with Sylvain Jolie and Richard Pruitt out of Sanford, North Carolina, going to be in row number 11. Row 12 going to be Jeremy Paris and Nolan Hodgson, while row 13 going to feature Jacob Fifield and Matt Mackin. TJ Handley and Noah Hamilton going to be in row 14, while 15 going to consist of Ray Ferreira and Jamie T. Beasley out of Sanford, Florida. Raymond Ferreira and, Kavaja Holt going to be in row 15, while row 16 going to be Stoney Benfield and Mitchell Davies. Tony Burke going to start 34th, while Nick Hansen going to start shotgun on the field as Steve Herring looks like he wants to take the start here at the back of the field, taking that early EOL. 100 laps the scheduled distance as we get ready to rock and roll here. The iRacing.com pace car leading us through turns 3 and 4. And, stage break's going to be at laps 20 and 40. And then a pretty good run here to the end. The iRacing.com pace car looking to peel itself down pit road. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, call a friend, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Alex Princeton with a good jump over the remainder of the field so far. You don't want to get too far out, and he did not this time, as he has Mike Wright in hot pursuit, giving him the bump here into turns 1 and 2. The 77 of Rich Jett out of Schwanksville going to be pushed along by his fellow statesman Joe Stafford from Philadelphia here in the number 57 Chevrolet Silverado, as these trucks are going to take about 2 laps to get all the way up to speed. Side by side we go down the backstretch. As we come out of turn number 4, Alex Princeton leading the way, as he's going to get credit for leading that first lap here at Daytona in the books of the 2024 Tuesday Night NASCAR truck season. Of course, this year the truck season gets to return back to the Craftsman Truck Series full-time as it was last year in 23. And I'll tell you what, the Camping World Truck Series, or, the Camping World RV Series, whatever they wanted to call themselves, that was all fine and good. But there's something that just makes me feel good about, Craftsman being back in the NASCAR fold here. As a proud Craftsman user every day at work, I can't be happier, because, I'm one of these people where you support the things that support the things that you like. When Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a Nationwide driver, he had Nationwide insurance. When he started driving the Diet Dew car, I suddenly started drinking Diet Dew like it was going out of style. And I'm already a Craftsman user, so to see them come back here into the NASCAR family, just, it makes me feel a little bit better, as Alex Princeton now leading Gabriel Lafreniere from St. Jude, as Tane Hodgson going to run in 3rd and now 4th, as it looks like getting a run on the high side is Mike Wright in the 98. Mike Wright being pushed by Rich Jett. They come just about even, maybe off by about a half a truck length from the front nose of the 19. So Alex Princeton still going to be our race leader. A little bit further back here, not sure who that is, getting a little squirrely. It looks like it could be John Crow Sr., the 95. It is, as this is where the field is starting to kind of thin itself out a little bit here. As, looks like the 95 of John Crow Sr. just kind of holding on here in the middle, just behind Chris Custer in the 66. You watch the 28 now of Brian Tarnowski out of Waukesha, Wisconsin. We're going to drop here onto his nose. All of a sudden, Tarnowski getting a run. He had just enough room between himself and Michael Danks, and now Danks has a rearview mirror full of the 28 Chevrolet Silverado. And I'll tell you what, if there's somebody that you want behind you protecting that rear end, it's Tarnowski. He and I have a very long history here on the racetrack, as we're going to take a peek here at Diego Rodriguez, of course, mostly because I see that paint scheme being the number 69 Wawa machine, and I can only assume that's strange. He's from Adrian, Michigan. I don't even know if they have a Wawa in Adrian, Michigan, but if they do, I'd like to visit it, that's for sure, because that would be the furthest west Wawa I've ever seen in my life. Whoa, stepping out of line, nearly making contact here. Looks like that would be the 39 of Michael Astuto. And Astuto just a moment ago having a little bit of a Code Brown moment. He's got Aaron Mack all over his rear bumper. Joe Stafford now dropping from the high side to the low side as he's going to get into this fast-moving low line. Don't look now, though, but, you know, Chris Claude here in the 10, he has suddenly worked his way into 8th position. Now, he's got Brandon Minto just behind him, as well as the 7 of Jeremiah Mullins. So these drivers, we're going to start to watch that patience pay off, as Chris is one of those guys that he can hang on to this for, 20, 40, 60, 80 laps. And, hopefully then we start to see Chris really pick up that aggression. Of course, these trucks all making their way down the backstretch. And, everybody kind of wobbling around a little bit, and that's fine. We don't mind those wobbles, because you have to look at that like almost like the jet stream on the weather map on TV. It's just very graceful, it's very smooth, and everybody doing just about the same thing. It's that time when it looks like everybody's doing the same thing except for one guy, and that one guy will all of a sudden be, the impetus of perhaps the big one. As we look here, we see Michael Astuto in the 39 side-by-side with Chris Claude. As I say that, it's another situation, when one person can be the impetus to that wreck. There's always that one guy in a marching band who says, oh, you're all out of step, you're all out of step. No, if everybody in the marching band looks like they're out of step, it's not them, it's you, pal. And, a lot of times that's what can cause disasters here on the racetrack. As we take a look here at Alex Princeton leading the field here on lap number 7. As he's going to cross for lap 8, Alex Princeton having led every lap of this race so far tonight. Here on Sim Racing Media, Dave Riegel in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth with you tonight. As I've gotten a chance to work with some great people this week. Liam Ervig last night, of course, Alan Bergen every Sunday night throughout the season, and tonight it's just little old me up here in the booth. And believe me, this league here is home for me, as we're even approaching the halfway point of stage number 1. This league is where I broke in. In fact, it was the Truck Series at Darlington for my first race back in 2021. And it feels like forever ago, because, since then I've spent, all but 30 weeks a year with these guys. That's more than half the year. And, of course, Bob Nestor and I came into the league together. And Bob that year in 2021 wound up winning the championship, which was an incredible feat, having only come in about May of that year. And it was just, coming here is like coming home. So every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday that I get to hang out with you guys is, it's like hanging out with family, even though, we may not be related. D-Cash Videos, of course, Alexander Gangler checking in. The difference between him and the chase last season was 21 points, and he just lost the chance for 3 times that tonight. Yeah, not a good thing. There's Kip Cook pulling for the faster pastures. Dragon saying he seems to agree with me about Craftsman being back on here. And you know what, Dragon? I agree 1,000%. When you think the Truck Series, because of when it came into the league or into the NASCAR vernacular, decades ago, it was the Craftsman Truck Series, and it was the Truck Series for such a long time that it feels like a comfortable pair of shoes. You can slip into that, and believe me, even over the years, that they were not the title sponsor of the Truck Series. I still called it the Craftsman Truck Series. It was like a nasty little habit that I had. Not sure if anybody's ever had it, but Death Wish coffee is a special treat, let me tell you. It is like coffee on crack, or coffee with, a little slice of some white booger sugar from down in South Beach, because I'll tell you what, it is delicious and it will keep you a-cooking. And speaking of cooking, Mike Wright trying to cook something up here as he's getting a good push from Rich Jett on the high side. And something to watch here. This is something that it gets under my skin with so many different drivers that aren't in the Cup Series. Actually, the Cup Series is almost the worst, I guess. But, here you are. You're Rich Jett. You're pushing Mike Wright. And Mike Wright wants to be able to go ahead and get up here to the lead. So many times you're going to see drivers like the 98 get up there in front of the 19 and all of a sudden abandon the person that pushed them all the way up there. And to me, that is just the epitome of rude on the racetrack. Kip, why don't you go ahead and try to go find Barbara and the other people from the Faster Pastors Church. I used to love hanging out with them here on Tuesday Night NASCAR last season. I know I love getting a chance to chat with Stoney. He is quite a guy, and I really like hanging out with him. In fact, let's see where he is right now, running 5 spots up from where he had started. He's back in his traditional NC811.org Ford F-150 as he's currently being pushed around by Nick Hansen in the 99. Getting a chance now to look a little bit deeper in the field than everybody else. Sylvain Joly up here in 23rd. He's already slid back 4 spots as he is currently trailing, he's pushing Brian Tarnowski also down 4 spots. Our biggest mover in a positive direction tonight, currently Jamie T. Beasley here in the 49 as he's up 6 right now. Oh, and Diego Rodriguez just joined the 6-piece club. As did Chris Custer. As did Sean Kelly. So just about everybody here on that outside line just gaining a spot in about the same blink of time as all of a sudden, what is this here right in front of the 7? I'm not sure if that's Aaron Mack. It is. Not sure why Aaron Mack was sniffing the middle here to think about 3 wide. There is no space right now between these cars. We can see that here. So in case Aaron thought that, maybe he had a chance, let's just take a look here. You couldn't all of a sudden the 98 dropping all the way back like a stone as he's going to get out of the draft along with Astuto in the 39. So obviously they know that they can run up front. Now it's time to run together as we're 14 laps in, more than halfway through this piece, as we take a look here at Alex Princeton from Lake Elmo, Minnesota, still your race leader as he's going to stay out here and be the fuel pig. And here's the thing, Mike Wright running back here with Michael Astuto in the 98. Mike Wright is not resetting and he's not thinking about what to do. First off, he's going back here to pick up his teammate Brandon Minto. Second of all, Mike Wright doesn't reset, he reloads. Mike Wright out of Greensboro, North Carolina is an absolute wizard here on the racetrack, and he's going to take some bumps here from Astuto, and they've got about 3 3/4 seconds to get up to Tony Burt, as Tony here from Hedgesville, West Virginia, kind of running all by his lonesome. This is how you're going to get through stages 1 and 2. You're going to be patient, you're going to hang back, you're not going to get lapped as long as you stay with a group of trucks. It doesn't have to be the lead group of trucks, because a lot of times that's where the pandemonium breaks out. At this stage in the race, be a Tony Burt. In fact, let's go here. And in case Tony's wife Heather is paying attention, Heather, I only wish that all of these drivers could be just like your husband. And I'm sure that you would love multiple copies of him as well. No? Yes? Maybe. But I'll tell you what, there is one and one only Tony Burt here in this league. And all of a sudden we see him climbing up alongside Jeremy Paris. He's going to get up here into the 05 as he just got around Steve Herring in the 89. He's kind of testing the water out here with the 4. Now we see the 89 of Steve. Okay. Jeremy Parrish just dove down pit road here on lap 17. So Jeremy Parrish deciding, it seems, that he wants to try to lead this piece when we go back green flag racing after the stage break at lap number 20. Joe Stafford here out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's going to look weird for a guy with a Michigan location, as Joe Stafford's going to look behind him and he can see the 66 or 69. It's got to look weird when you can see that Wawa logo behind you, and that guy has maybe not been in one. Who knows? Wawa, of course, the greatest, and we can debate it later, convenience store in Pennsylvania. You people that like sheets can just, cover yourself in a sheet and walk off the end of a tall building, because Wawa is where it's at, y'all. James Boger checking in here. Go faster, Pastor, as it looks like he is now checking in here from Stony Benfield's Church. Glad to have you with us, James. Glad to have everybody with us tonight in the YouTube.com live chat, as we're working lap number 18, working through stage number 1 here in the Tuesday Night NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, of course, part of the SNN family of racing series. Sunday nights at 7:30 p.m. we go green flag racing with the Cup Series. Then Monday, going to be the Xfinity Series at 8:10 p.m. And, of course, wrapping the week up at 8:10 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Now, just so that everybody's aware, not every race will be broadcasted here for the Truck and Xfinity Series unless they can, secure some sponsorships and secure some support here to get on the air. But as of right now, we are live here on Sim Racing Media in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. Glad to have all of you with us tonight, as right now Alex Princeton, the Pied Piper of Daytona, I have not been to Bucky's Dragon. As a matter of fact, I've heard lots of good things about it. My mom, who she's semi-retired and lives in Myrtle Beach, that's a highlight for her and my oldest son to go to when he goes down to Myrtle Beach later this year. So I'll get a review on it, and I'm excited to hear about it. I'd still like to think that nobody's going to make a better hoagie than Wawa. And you know what? While I'm on that subject, it's called a hoagie. Not a sub, not a hero. It's a hoagie. We do it better in Philadelphia than anywhere else. And with that, we will conclude stage number 1 here, as we've gone 21 clean laps at Daytona. Alex Princeton going to bring home the green and white checkered flag. He's going to be followed by Gabriel Lafreniere and Ethan Eckert. Rich Jett, Tane Hodgson, Chris Claude, Joe Stafford, Diego Rodriguez, Randall Watkins, and Nolan Hodgson. As everybody going to get single file. Let the trucks cool down for just a moment. While they do that, we're going to find Alex Princeton here. Maybe we won't. I don't see him anywhere. So unless he's hiding in Discord, I don't see Alex Princeton. There he is. Hey, Alex, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Listen, obviously a great finish last night. You've already started the trend here tonight at Daytona in the Truck Series. How's the truck handling out there?
Well, I made the rookie mistake of leaving my qualifying setup in, so it's fast out front. I'm not sure what it's going to do in the draft, but it's fast out here.
Yeah, it looks fast and it looks organized. It really does look like organized chaos out there.
Yeah, it's overall this truck ain't too bad. It handles real good. I'm a little hesitant when I get in the draft what it's going to do, but it's nice to be out front for a while. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And, coming down pit road, obviously 4 tires, a tank of fuel. Any adjustments to the 19?
I'll probably tighten it up a hair to try to get a little bit of the qualifying set out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to shake it down a little bit, see how it feels. I mean, being up there in that clean air, you get the best air, onto the front end of the truck. And, of course, as that bubble forms behind you from who's pushing you, it really settles down the truck. And, I mean, I can see when you go ahead, when the truck behind you gets on the throttle, that whole front end lifts. And when they get just close enough to you, the air coming off of your truck just slams the splitter down of the other one, the truck behind you. So, it's an exciting night.
Oh yeah, should be fun. Hopefully we can be here in 80 laps.
Absolutely. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way, and maybe we'll see you at the end of next stage too.
All right, thanks Dave, take care.
That, of course, the voice of Alex Princeton, driver of the number 19 Chevrolet Silverado. This league very Chevy heavy, as we get a chance to take a peek at that here. In fact, the interesting thing here is tonight of all nights, it's usually very Chevy heavy, and it seems like a pretty good split of manufacturers represented this evening. As some Fords, looks like it's probably an even split between Fords and Chevrolets, but and just a smattering, if you will, or a smackerel of Toyota Tundras. When we go back green flag racing, our new race leader going to be Ray Ferreira along with Jacob Fifield in the 92 as they each came down on lap number 17. Of course, Fifield, an eNASCAR College Series driver from Horseheads, New York, also coming down on lap 17. TJ Handley not registering a trip down pit road, so not sure if he's deciding to try to take some kind of a weird chance or not. John Crow Sr. going to be starting in 4th position. Gabriel Lafreniere, Jeremy Paris, Rich Jett, Alex Princeton, Tane Hodison, and Ethan Eckert going to round out your restart top 10. As Ray Ferreira out of the Jack Dow Motorsports stable going to get ready to rock and roll. Actually, I believe, and I could be wrong, and I'm going to double check myself, but I think Ray Ferreira changed teams this year. I see. I believe he is with Blackhawk Motorsports. So at the next caution, we'll get a chance to talk to Stoney Benfield, the faster pastor. But for right now, we're going to get ourselves ready for stage number 2. There's Barbara Pinion in our YouTube.com live chat. Barbara, glad to have you back for another season of Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series Racing, cheering on the faster pastor, Stoney Benfield. The iRacing.com pace car getting ready to make the hard left turn down pit road. Stage 1 in the books with Alex Princeton holding a green and white checkered flag. Stage 2 going to begin as Ray Ferreira leads us into the Geico restart zone. The green flag flies and we're back underway. And as we get back underway, Sylvain Joly now picking up the race lead on timing. No, he doesn't. As Jacob Fifield going to be your race leader here all of a sudden, as he has now gotten that top line some momentum above Ray Ferreira. Now Ferreira takes the lead back as the low line starting to pick up momentum here coming down the backstretch. You can see Ferreira getting a good push from the 95 of John Crow Sr. as we move here on lap number 25, working our way toward lap number 40. Of course, stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 40. 4 tire sets total for these drivers tonight. So a pretty interesting split here for these drivers as we get deeper into this race. Stepping out of line a little bit is Ethan Eckert. We can see him not sure what he thinks he was doing out there, maybe just burping the thermostat a little bit as he gets ready to start giving some love taps here to Gabriel Lafreniere. He draws it on Lafreniere, hits him here just to the right of where the license plate would be on a standard pickup truck. Not a good push. There's one right here. Oh! Ethan Eckert with the run, all of a sudden going to get around and go 3 wide. That shoves Sylvain Joly. Gabriel Lafreniere to the outside and shuffles him on back into 9th position, and that puts Ethan Eckert in 7th. So Ethan Eckert with the power move over Gabriel Lafreniere from St. Jude. So far, a pretty clean start to this race. 27 green flag laps with the exception of the caution in between stages 1 and 2. As we move deeper into the night, we're going to take a peek here at those lap times that are being laid down right now by these drivers, because I'll tell you what, they're fast. 48.18 seconds for Ferreira on his last lap. And we're going to see a lot of these lap times start to go up, at least for the next probably 10 laps, as we get ready to close in on the end of stage 2. Once we get closer to that lap 40 mark, we're going to start to see some of these times melt away a little bit, just because tires are going to start to be, losing a little bit of grip. As right now, John Crow and Ray Ferreira getting faster by the moment, as Ferreira just laid a 47.967, and John Crow Sr. was actually faster by 0.06 of a second. Oh my, there goes the mess as Diego Rodriguez, the 0-1 just taking a race car to the face. My goodness. Let's see what just happened here with Diego Rodriguez. Now we're going to watch this here from high above the racetrack. Looks like Rich Jet got a little loose, bounces off, and he just can't get this thing woed back down and under control. Looks like Randall Watkins squirts out of there. My goodness. In fact, we're going to take a look here and see if we can check out what Randall Watkins saw from his windshield, because, wow. As we're going to watch this at full speed. Here from the nose of Randall Watkins. Randall's watching this action here. He gets down, takes a little bit of grass with him, and somehow gets through that mess. We're going to look here at the 77 as well. That's Rich Jet. And we see Rich got a bump from behind. I'm not sure who that was. We'll get a chance to look at it from his rear bumper, that's for sure. As we're going to go right here. Just going to find it in my camera list. Here it is. There's the bump from the 55. And that's what starts this whole thing. That was Nolan Hodgson in the 55. So we're going to take another look. Now here's the look from Nolan Hodgson. He gives Jet the bump, and he caught him right on that right rear tail light. That unsettles Jet. Jet comes up and nudges Hodgson up against the wall. I don't think Hodgson took another hit, so he may have gotten out of here accidentally unscathed, because right now I'm sure Rich Jet would much prefer to see the 55 of Nolan Hodgson down on pit road, not himself. And oddly enough, that's going to pull up Ray Ferreira, or pull Ray Ferreira out of the race lead for the time being, and put John Crow Sr. atop the pile. It's just hard. Once these trucks, moving at that speed that they were, once these trucks become unsettled, it is an absolute ricochet effect as you move, around the racetrack. I mean, a lot of these drivers aren't trying to, do anything nefarious. I mean, it was a regular bump from the 55. It just happened to be on that tail light of the 77. And it just the double nickel and the double natural just didn't get along tonight, as Rich Jet's still sitting down on pit road. So by league rules, that should put the 55 at the end of the line. I don't see where he is. There's Nolan Hodgson. Nolan Hodgson is on pit road, getting some kind of repair done, so he's actually going to go down a lap now as the pace car passes pit road, as Hodgson still sits down there, as Michael Danks beating the pace car off of pit road by just a hair, so he's probably going to be trying to get all the way back around so he doesn't go down that lap. And I want to welcome into the broadcast booth now my esteemed colleague, my brother from another mother, Mr. Alan Bergen. As Alan tuning in here from just outside the city of St. Louis, as we've got St. Jude in the field tonight. So, Alan, welcome into Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series Racing.
I couldn't resist the fun of, we just finished up Racers Elite here. Congratulations to Austin Smith on winning that championship over there. I couldn't resist the fun of coming over here and hanging out with you in the Tony Trapasso studio just outside the city of brotherly love of Philadelphia.
It takes a little while until you can get brotherly laid out of your tongue like that. You got to lift the back end of your tongue. You got to talk with the front of your mouth. It's brotherly, just like Philadelphia. My favorite word to say in all of broadcasting will always be Philadelphia. Well, I'm certainly glad to have you here. We're working lap number 31, so not even at the halfway point in this piece. And as I was telling the folks earlier, I mean, you're coming from Racers Elite, and Tuesday night is just about our busiest night here on Sim Racing Media.
Yeah. Normally, the Western States is off. Normally, I would be either getting ready to go into that booth or getting ready to strap into the race car in that series.
Well, speaking of getting ready for different things here, the iRacing.com pace car getting ready to peel down pit road. He does. John Crow Sr. with control of the field comes just past the entrance to pit road, hits the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and we're back underway.
Yeah, Raymond Ferreira there on the inside. And, the one thing about Daytona, Dave, is you're going to need a whole lot of help from a whole lot of friends.
Trust me, I've been here at Daytona for the last 3 days. I have seen all kinds of different racing from this league. I mean, Cup Series racing, as you and I saw on Sunday, was a lot of single-file action, a lot of guys just trying to pick one another off one at a time, and kind of a lackluster finish. Last night in the Xfinity Series was side-by-side for all 120 laps. Now tonight we're basically getting the same product, just in a different race vehicle, as right now the 05 of Jeremy Paris giving a push here to Ray Ferreira, as they're going to be currently running, let's see here, 5th and 3rd on the timing line. Meanwhile, Jacob Fifield giving a shove to John Crow Sr. as they cross the start-finish line. I'll tell you what, if that was the last lap, Ray Ferreira would have won by literally a layer of paint.
A layer of paint, for sure.
All of a sudden, 3 wide as the 6 car of Ray Ferreira is starting to melt through here. He's looking for a place to park this thing and get back underway. He's now getting a push from just behind him as he gets a shove. Maybe Ferreira knows something that we don't, as that was the 40 of Ethan Eckert giving him the push. All of a sudden, Ethan Eckert, wow. They shuffled that deck like cards at a casino.
Yeah, speaking of casino, but hey, nonetheless, the 40 truck of Ethan Eckert, he is all over the back bumper of that 05 truck there, and that's Jeremy Paris there coming down the back straightaway. But that number 19 truck of Alex, he's looking to get into the mix. These guys are absolutely glued to the bumper right now of one another. And Dave, you know, I was in the Xfinity race last night until I wasn't in the Xfinity race, and I was lucky enough to time in or get in on time.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're watching here from the top of Ethan Eckert's truck, a good shove from John Crow Sr. to Ray Ferreira, as now it looks like Eckert trying to get himself back in line here behind Jeremy Paris. He was giving him a heck of a push down the backstretch. As we come out of turn number 4, Ethan Eckert pushing Jeremy Paris, trying to get him up there. Oh, Eckert's got to get more. Whoa! That's not what you want to do. You want to be able to get square right here on the rear end of that Silverado. And quite frankly, if I was Jeremy Paris, this would be the driver that I would abandon on the high side.
Yeah, the Fords and the Chevys don't really mesh well together when it comes to drafting together. And, you know, you can say the same thing about the Toyotas also.
Yeah, the Fords have a nice wide nose on the front of them. The Chevrolet's a little bit more narrow, and the Toyota TRD Tundra is just like a knife cutting through the air. They are definitely strong here in the Truck Series, and we've got quite a few of them as we run through the field. Chris Claude being one of them, as he is single file just ahead of Brian Tarnowski. And right now, as we look a little bit deeper here, I'm just looking for where Tony Bird is in his Chevrolet. Those are the 2 drivers, Alan, that I've picked to finish on the podium tonight, the 4 and the 10.
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, Chris Claude, he's been strong here all week at Daytona. But Tony Burt there, I mean, he looks like he's drafting well. He's up, you know, in that top, you know, almost top 15. So I would expect it to be up there in the front of the field.
Oh, sideways, oh my. Here they go again, the 06 of Gabriel Lafreniere. It is a freaking mess. And there's Chris Claude plowing away, trying to get through this.
I think it might have been
a good thing. Brian Tarnowski doing a little bit of landscaping here. Squirting through that unscathed is my boy Tony Burt. Look at him up there in 13th position. Let's take a look and see what brought this caution on, because it was just outside of our camera view.
Some of these guys, Dave, cannot wait to get out of Daytona.
Yeah, some of them have had a rough couple of days, and believe me, after so many races here, it can get frustrating, as we see. So it started up here with the 05.
Maybe a bad bump.
Yeah, could have been. Might have been. Let's see if we can blimp view this one. There's the 40 of Ethan Eckert, and he just gets the 05 sideways and turns him across the racetrack. That collects in the 57 of Joe Stafford. Looks like the 23, the 10, the 06 Oxmoor machine. Let's see if we can find what Chris Claude saw as we go down here. Let's see. Right here from the nose of Chris Claude's machine. Now Chris can start to see some of this mess break out in front of him. So Chris, he gets down, but not far enough, and he sort of squeezes himself through. probably not a whole lot of damage to the front of the 10.
I think he might have got pinched, but I think you're right. I don't think there's too much damage on the front end of that 10 truck.
Yeah, he just got right back on the throttle and decided that was enough.
But I would say this, though. See, I came in at the right time. It's getting good, right?
Well, you came in and jinxed everything is what you did. You know, everything was fine. We went through stage 1 with no problems. We went through half of stage 2 with no problems. You show up, and all of a sudden, pandemonium in the ring.
I had that
So,
effect on
folks,
race.
if you have any hate mail, you can send that to Alan Bergen, care of Sim Racing Media. Zip code is OU812.
I love that. You know, it's funny you mention that because, like, some of the guys I worked with in the past, they're like, you're like the black cloud. Everything's going great, and then you show up, and then bam, it all goes wrong.
You had to touch stuff, didn't you?
I wanted to know what the red button was like. What the red button
Don't
was.
touch the red button. You see the red button there, kid? See that red button, Slick? Never touch the red button. Coming off of pit road now is the 7 machine of Jeremiah Mullins. He's going to beat the pace car and be able to get back around. The pace car lights are off, which means it will be going back green flag racing. That'll keep Jeremiah Mullins on the lead lap. Or just about on the lead lap.
Almost.
Oh my, we're having some fun now. Side by side they go Ray Ferreira, John Crow Sr., Ethan Eckert, Alex Princeton, Jacob Fifield, Noah Hamilton, Tane Hodgson, TJ Handley, Randall Watkins, and Tony Burt. Your top 10. And, look, Tony Burt's already the defending champion of this race from 2023. And I know that he knows how to put that truck into victory lane.
You know, based on what I saw the other 2 days, you know, I agree with you. And it's been like, it seems like it's been a different guy each night that has done that. So, nonetheless, as we got Raymond Ferreira and John Crow on the front row here for the restart here as the iRacing.com pace car around the corner, and these guys are getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. And here we go. We are getting ready for the restart here. And I would suspect that, you know, the 95 John Crow Sr., he's going to have Ethan Eckert behind him, and he's going to get the whole shot. Nonetheless, here we get ready to come back to green here. Down to the Geico restart zone. Wait for it. And green. Here we go. We are Raymond Ferreira on the button, and he is down and away, down through the tri-oval. Button, don't look out now. Here comes that 95 of John Crow Sr. And like it's push from Ethan Eckert.
Side by side, they go into 1 and 2. Ethan Eckert. Oh, Ethan Eckert's going to take out the entire field. Oh my!
Ethan Eckert with a bad angle there.
Just in case it couldn't get any crazier. There's Tony driving away again. Ethan Eckert just took out the entire field of leaders. And look, I'm not trying to sit here and ascribe any fault, but we just watched that live here. And if you couldn't see it, then perhaps you and Ray Charles went to the same school to learn how to read Braille. That, of course, will end stage number 2, which makes TJ Handley our stage 2 winner. We're going to watch this from the perspective of the 40 of Ethan Eckert. as he's going to finish third this time around. Now we're going to watch this from right here. Ethan Eckert going to start to peak here to the inside. He drops down and thinks he's going to take this 3 wide. The 95 of John Crow comes down to throw a block. But, you know, Ethan Eckert had no business down there. There was nobody to help him. And he just boom went the dynamite to half the leaders. So in a wild card race, so as it is here on a super speedway, we're going to watch this again. This time we're going to watch it from the rear. Here goes Eckert to the inside. And there's just no room. There's no room. He didn't belong there. I'm sure John Crow wanted to stay on the throttle and finish the job off. That's for sure.
They were still wrecking even after the fact.
Oddly enough, that puts Ethan Eckert atop the pile for the time being as he came down on lap 21. So I'm not sure who's going to be scored the race leader at that point. It should be TJ Handley. But for some reason, timing and scoring has Ethan Eckert as our race leader. We're going to get a hold of Chris Claude and see what race control is going to determine. Hey, Chris, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what was the official word there? Who won stage 2?
I honestly don't know. I was involved in the wreck, so I didn't.
You definitely were. I mean, it looked like it was going to be TJ, and then all of a sudden Eckert showed up as being timed in first position, so we weren't sure here, and we didn't hear a call from race control.
Yeah. You may have to go back and look at the replay. That's about the only thing I could suggest, because
Fair enough.
Yeah, I was honestly not sure. So
well,
I feel like I was in a. I feel like I was in
about 14 shades of angry right now, or at least frustrated.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not angry at all. I'm just kind of just trying to get collected and everything after the wreck, and I've got 2 minutes of damage, so I'm gonna just trying to decide whether to get it fixed or to. I don't know.
You know what? Sometimes I always think to myself, WWBD, what would Bob do? Bob would get his repairs done because
Bob
he
would
knows
get his
that you're going to have.
repairs
Bob would get his repairs done.
Yeah, he would.
Good old
Absolutely.
shout out to the Jedi Master. All right, Chris, good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
Going to send him back up into Jackdown Motorsports, and we'll see if we can figure out who did come across the line first, because that was.
I think you were right.
We're going to watch the 6 here because I don't think he was involved. Nope, yep, he was. All right, so squirting away was the 92 or 93, 92 of Jacob Fifield. Now we're going to ride along with Fifield as they're technically going to race back to the checkered flag. But then passing him all of a sudden is his teammate in the 83, TJ Handley. So TJ Handley technically would be the winner of stage number 2. Interesting, because then somehow the 40 winds up the first car, as we're going to just see if we can't fast forward here behind the curtain, as it looks like Handley gets himself, or is going to get himself, caught up to the pace car. And then the 93 of Tane Hodison, sorry. This is more confusing than trying to read Sanskrit, as the 83 was then shuffled up here. So then the 83 goes up, but then the 92 sits. You know what? We're going to let race control figure it out.
That's making my head hurt.
one of these things is not like the proverbial other.
One of these things that doesn't belong here.
Yeah, Dragons are on here in our YouTube.com live chat saying 3 big ones in the past 10 laps. Yeah. It's, you've heard of field filler racing here on SNN. It's now field thinner. They're going to start having to use the Bosley Hair Clinic to try to get things thickened back up.
Oh, man.
Pace car dropping down pit road. Stage 3 about to begin here on lap number 44. Richard Pruitt with control of the field here in the 24. Hits the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and we go back green. For the sanity of everyone around, it looks like the 40, if I can find it, is way back here in 27. So he's either going to strap a V-plow to the front of that yep. He's either going to strap a V-plow to the front of that F-150, or he's going to follow in line like everybody else to drink the Kool-Aid. And everybody scatters away from in front of him. That seems about accurate.
Yeah, so here's the thing, too. As we're watching Ethan Eckert there, so now we're going back up to Richard Pruitt there and the number 24 truck there. And he's got the 93 of Kay Hodgson on his back bumper. But you can see there's an outside line trying to form up there and maybe get a run on this inside line. As everybody's, minding their P's and Q's at the start of stage 3.
There are some strong super speedway drivers here in this front pack. I'm going to point them out to you right now, folks. This is the kind of stuff that gets me all hot and bothered here in the broadcast booth. Kavaja Holt out of Waynesboro here in the 00. Super Speedway Whisperer. Tony Burt from Hedgesville, West Virginia. Super Speedway Whisperer. Stoney Benfield out of Albemarle, North Carolina. Super Speedway Whisperer. Don't look now, though. Here on the high side is my good friend and brother, Waukesha, Wisconsin, very own Brian Tarnowski. Those drivers here have a shot at the super speedway, and I'll tell you what, they're patient. They know where to be. It almost seems like they're always in the right place at the right time, and I wouldn't mess with them if I was anybody down here. So, Tony Burt, my pre-race selection to see who's going to win here, I got Tony being able to go up here into the high side. Look, there he goes. Hey, look at me, looking like I know what I'm talking about. Tony Burt, considering going up here to the high side, he's going to wait now for Pastor Stoney to come up. There he is. Oh, wait, let's see if I can get... I thought I was going to guess the next one, too. I felt like Tony Romo for a minute, guessing the play.
Hey, you know what, though? You're talking about the Super Speedway Whisperers. After seeing what we saw on Sunday, I would even put Ron Fitting in that group, too.
Ron Fitting, definitely a strong super speedway driver, but, Tony Burt wants to go back-to-back here in the spring race at Daytona, and Pastor Stoney here wants to pick up that W here in Florida. And look, all three of these drivers going to get together. Randall Watkins from the Miami-Dade Fire Department also going to get in here into this high-side conga line. Philadelphia's very own Joe Stafford here in the 57. He's going to be patient here. You're going to watch him just take his time, bide his time, and hang out here in what's now 5th position. So the high side, however, those drivers what is this mess? What are you doing? All of a sudden now, we start to see that's the 49 of Jamie Beasley. I don't think he got an invitation to the party. We're going to see him drop back down in here the first chance he gets. I mean, this is truck racing at its... see, look, what did I tell you? They found out he didn't have an invitation, and he got out of the way.
See? Don't crash the party.
Look, I've raced with these guys. I love hanging out with these guys. I love watching these races. This is what it's all about right here.
Yeah, Stoney... So, I want to put something out. Stoney and, Tarnowski... and those guys are trying to get a line formed up there on the outside. But do they have enough? And I would, look at these guys. Look at Tarnowski there on the outside, and he's coming with that 75 of Tony Benfield. But here comes the number 55. Also, he's coming with them too.
And there he is as we look from the roof cam of Brian Tarnowski. As we rotate back around, we're going to take a look here at his perspective here right behind Stoney Benfield. They're starting to crawl here on the high side. They're able to use a little bit of side draft. They don't have to get as close here in the trucks to side draft. A little bit of wobble here from Brian. That's not what you want to see, but you know, you're in turns 3 and 4. When you roll out of 4, you want to be squared up on that truck in front of you. You want to be right there at that divider line on that rear spoiler. So as we cross the start-finish line on lap number 50, we're officially halfway through this race. We're going to see Brian Tarnowski get himself lined up right here. And you know what? I'm going to pull this graphic off the screen so we can see it. The H in Trish's Hope, we're looking at it upside down. The H, he needs to line that up right here on the black line in the middle of Stoney's spoiler. He gets it lined up. Here comes the bump. Boom. We move forward. Now, Stoney Benfield, your race leader here, the faster pastor in the 75, that F-150, battling it out side by side now with Tate Hodison and Richard Pruitt. All of a sudden, this top line has all kinds of momentum, and they are out for blood tonight.
I think the inside line's just a little too strong right now, as the outside definitely is getting some more momentum.
I'll tell you what, after watching this kind of a race, I'm going to wind up needing a cigarette in the dark. I don't even smoke. So if anybody can send over a pack of Marlboro Menthol Lights to Norristown, PA, that'd be great right about now. Stoney Benfield getting another push from Brian Tarnowski. They've tested it out. They know they can do this. Well, Stoney just dumps himself down in front of the 24 of Richard Pruitt. That leaves Brian Tarnowski not necessarily all by his lonesome, but he's going to need a push right now from Randall Watkins in the 27. So listen, those 3 drivers leading that top line right now are the best that you're going to see all night. This is, Alan, I am speechless. I'm excited, and this is fantastic. I'm also highly caffeinated.
So, Dave, what you're really saying is you're jacked up on Mountain Dew.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Here comes Tarnowski making a run on the outside, and he's going to bring that 27 truck of Randall Watkins with him. Here comes the number 4 truck of Tony Burt. Tarnowski to the lead. Give the advantage to the outside.
These guys are now in control of this race. They've sat here, week after week, toiling for the super speedway setup, and now Brian Tarnowski getting the run out of 2, getting another shove from Tony Burt. These 2 drivers, at this point in the race, should probably, there they go, down to the low side. Now, it's all on them.
Tarnowski, Burt, abandon the high side, get on the low side, and I couldn't agree with that strategy anymore. We got under 50. We got 52 laps to go, Dave. Maybe even 51 laps right now.
The 83 and the 92 suddenly decided they want to see if they can do this. I'm sure they can, but I'm mildly biased. If you couldn't tell.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
And anything you can do, I can do too. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Tuesday Night NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series live here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen bringing you all of the action. We are past the halfway point in this race. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank you for making us a part of your evening. Stay right here, and we'll be right back.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive. You know, what was going to happen with my wife, my kids. And, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually, they gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out. Also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I'm just outside the city of brotherly love. He is just outside of St. Louis, and you're watching the Tuesday Night NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series live here, part of the SNN family of racing series. Jacob Fifield, your race leader right now, being pushed down the backstretch by TJ Handley. We just had some exciting racing between the 28, the 4, and the 27. These drivers here, Brian Tarnowski, Tony Burt, and Randall Watkins, we're going to be watching them as we get deeper into this race. Now, the last pit stop was on 42. That means that we're probably going to be somewhere in and around lap 71, 72, which should be the money stop here, as we've got 100 laps total tonight. So, an interesting evening has been, as Ethan Eckert had a plow strapped to the front of his number 40 earlier, now running back here in 22nd. So not making any friends tonight is Ethan Eckert.
No, and you know, I hate to cut you off there, but I imagine that a few of these guys will be waiting until probably your short tracks to getting back.
Yeah, he won't make it through the short tracks very nicely. I know that there are several drivers that I've come across over the years, both in the getting a little out of line back there, and you do things like that in the opening night of your race season, and you're going to put a target on your back the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I'm sure these guys will still get theirs.
Absolutely. Taking a look here, though, all of a sudden on the high side, the 66 of Chris Custer and the 3 of Ron Fitting trying to challenge right now these leaders, as one truck's going to dive here down below. That's the 06 Oxmoor machine of Gabriel Lafreniere. Playoff driver last year, starting the year off kind of feebly here after being wrapped up in some messes. We've had quite a few cautions that just kind of bred more cautions. As Dragons Iran had pointed out earlier, Barbara Pinion in the YouTube.com live chat. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications right here on YouTube.com, as we're glad to have all of you with us as always. Taking a look now, almost looks like Tarnowski, Burt, and the 27 of Randall Watkins just kind of hanging back, and it's probably not a bad thing. Just 4 trucks deciding to take the high line here in this lead pack, followed up at the rear by Stoney Benfield. The faster pastor here in the 75. These drivers just kind of hanging out. As soon as he gets a chance, I'm sure Stoney would like to get behind Randall Watkins, but right now Watkins has Kavaja Holt, another super speedway whisperer, just below him. So when it's go time, we're going to see all of those trucks make a move all at once. There it is. I swear, we could go to 40 different racetracks, but it's only Daytona and Talladega that I can really start to watch these people and really start to take good guesses at what's about to happen.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, Dave, is you have the advantage of being able to race with some of these guys, so you kind of learn their moves and their habits over time.
That is true. As we pull up those standings here on the left side of your screen, we're going to take a look at the most recent lap times for these drivers. 48.97 for Fifield, 48.96 for Fitting. You're going to see those faster lap times deeper into the field, because right now Fifield is nothing but a fuel pig. And, the drivers behind him, Fitting, Handley, Custer, Tarnowski, some of these guys aren't even at full throttle. We'll take a look right here at Tarnowski. Now we can see him feathering that just a hair, as he's basically just going to burp it going into the turn. Now Right now, Tarnowski not even at full throttle coming down the back chute as he's hanging just off the rear end of TJ Handley. We're going to see the same thing here with Tony Burt, as Burt also not full throttle yet. So these drivers are able to save some fuel, but at the top of this field, basically Jacob Fifield has to lay it all out for these guys.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is you got to be patient, but you got to know when to go.
Well, and speaking of going, we're starting to get into that pit window time. As 69 laps in the books, we should start to see some pit stops here around lap 71, 72, somewhere in that neighborhood, as they'll have been out there for just about 30 laps at that point. So, we're kind of getting there. We're kind of, whoa. The 3 of Ron Fitting just dropping down to command just ahead now of the 83 of TJ Handley and the 92 of Jacob Fifield. Chris Custer now trying to get the 66 into line. And that 66 car right there trying to get another push from just behind. And that's the 49 of JT Beasley. And JT trying to push him down here into turns 1 and 2. It's starting to calm down, which means that, in the next couple of laps is when we're going to see some of these tempers flare, some of this patience run out, and we're still not done yet with the caution flags, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right on point there, Dave. We got a little over 30 laps to go, 32 laps to be exact. As Ron Fitting there, he's up 34 spots. And from what I've noticed, also, Dave, from the last 3 nights of racing, is a lot of these guys that are up here in the they just did not want to start near the front here. They just wanted to work their way up and dodge all the action and stuff.
Well, as it stands right now, we're working lap number 71, so the window is open and there's a pie cooling on the windowsill. Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, and Jeremiah Mullins all coming down pit road for service early. So we're going to see how long Fitting, Fifield, Custer, Handley, and Beasley all want to stay out here. I'm pretty certain that we're suddenly going to see Burt, Tarnowski, now maybe Beasley, get themselves lined up to come down pit road. As Tony thought about it, but maybe next time by.
Yeah, who's gonna take the bait? That's what we really want to know. When they come down pit road, who's gonna take the bait and come with them?
Each of these drivers with something to prove here in the opening race of the 2024 season. Looks like that's going to be the 6 truck down here on the apron. That's Ray Ferreira getting out of the way as he's got that repair finished. But Ron Fitting, currently your race leader out of Sumter, South Carolina. Ron getting himself all kinds of cranked up. Might be a little bit early as, wow, diving down now is Ron Fitting, Brian Tarnowski. This is going to be a mess. Tarnowski getting all kinds of sideways. These drivers here under green coming down. It's going to be Tarnowski, Fifield, let's see, Pruitt, Danks, Stafford, Hodison. All of those lead drivers coming down pit road, including Tony Burt. He's in here getting pit service. We're waiting to see the left side of that truck drop. Come on, Tony. There you go. And Tony, whoa, getting way sideways coming out of the pit box. Chris Claude now down pit road. Chris Claude's going to have to slow up and check up to allow Tony on past to avoid any kind of calamity here. So that's going to start to reshuffle some things now. The next thing that we're going to watch here is the cold tire brigade.
The cold tire brigade, Chris Custer, he's going to come down pit road, and he's going to bring a whole gaggle of cars. Richard Pruitt's going to cycle back up to the lead after these guys come in and get their services.
Yep, Custer, Watkins, Holt, Benfield, and Herring all coming together. 3 Chevrolets and a pair of F-150s. So, obviously, what I thought originally was going to happen here was Watkins, Holt, and Benfield were going to come down with Tarnowski and Burt Tarnowski and Burt obviously cooking something different in their own kitchen. Brandon now, Ethan Ecker coming down pit road as, well, the king of calamity this evening.
You're right there. Man.
Chris Custer now going to cycle himself up here into the lead coming off of pit road. He's going to be followed by Randall Watkins. Don't look now, though. All of a sudden, those drivers that came down early, Brandon Minto, Mike Wright, Rich Jett, those three drivers now have themselves up to speed, and they lead this piece. So Norman, Oklahoma's very own Brandon Minto, side by side with his teammate Mike Wright, getting ready to make their statement here in the opening race of the 2024 NASCAR Tuesday night NASCAR Truck Series here at Daytona. Mike Wright, your new race leader. We haven't seen him up front all night long, but here he is from Greensboro, North Carolina, as he's got that F-150 dripping with speed now, dripping kind of like the ooey gooey goodness of some Kraft macaroni and cheese. Do you know they call that Kraft dinner in Canada?
Yeah.
And it's the Canadians that ruin it by putting ketchup on macaroni and cheese.
Gross.
Yeah, that just turned my stomach thinking about it.
Now, the macaroni and cheese and on your dinner plate with some barbecue sauce, on the barbecue.
No, leave it be.
What about hot dogs? Hot dogs and macaroni and cheese?
Hot dogs and macaroni and cheese is an American classic.
Mixed in. You gotta quarter up the hot
dog.
dog.
Macaroni and cheese on the hot dog. At least I would. I don't like my food touching.
Now, I am a chili mac kind of guy. Give me a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese, cottage chili. Perfection.
Brian Tarnowski running in 6th position right now. He's just behind the 6 machine. That's the lap truck of Ray Ferreira. That's going to slow him up a pretty good bit. The 59 of Michael Danks on his low side. The 57 of Joe Stafford running in 5th. There's the caution flag. That's going to get everybody bunched back up. And these drivers that just came down pit road, the tires just came up to temperature. Let's see what happened here and see if the cold tire bug bit somebody, and I'm guessing the answer is yes.
I think you're right.
Taking a look at Sylvain Joly as he watches. Oh, the 0-0. Oh, that's not going to be fun to look at the replay of, as we're going to find out where he is. Where in the world is Kavaja Holt? There he is.
Where
Let's
are
see if
you,
we can
Kavaja?
figure out where this all just came from. They're trying to avoid the 05, the 66 bumps, and oof, that's a mess.
That's the mess.
Let's see if we can pull that up here on the blimp cam, get a little bit better of a shot of it.
There we go.
Watch that 0-0. You see the 66 bumping into the 89, and a pinball wizard. Oh, there goes Stoney Benfield into the wall. That's not good for anybody. Let's see what. Let's see if we can find out what that looked like from Tony Burt's perspective. Tony Burt giving the bump to Ron Fitting. All of a sudden, we're going to see smoke. Boom. And, oh, Tony Burt catching Kavaja right in the door.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate there for Tony Burt. And, David, that was your pick.
That's all right. Tony's still got a chance here. Taking a look at this replay once again as we see everybody just collecting themselves through turns 3 and 4 as they slide past the cam here. So that's going to make things interesting. Everybody on level ground. Mike Wright and Brandon Minto on just 2 lap older tires. Believe me, for Mike Wright, that is nothing. Brian Tarnowski, though, running in 6th. That's going to be curious for me. Looks like Tony Burt has himself repaired, or at least for the time being. Let's see if we can ride along with him and maybe hear a little bit of what's going on here on the inside of Tony's truck. Looks like he's able to keep it steady here at 5,000 RPMs. Now he's creeping up here to 6th, 5.5, as he checks himself up, sliding on past the 83 of TJ Handley. So as Tony gets himself checked up, you can see just how steep this banking is here, 29 degrees through 3 and 4.
So imagine climbing up a wall. That's pretty much what you're doing there. If you were to stop on the speedway, you would just be climbing up a wall.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't climb up things. I'm more of a down guy. You know, like lay down, sit down, fall down.
Lay down, sit down, fall down. Man.
First down,
Gravity.
touchdown. It could keep getting worse.
Gravity is not our friend.
But it's going to be right now 22 laps. It'll be 21 laps when we go back green flag racing here as the iRacing.com pace car leads us through 1 and 2. Going to be Mike Wright and Brandon Minto here on the front row. Rich Jett, Jacob Fifield, Joe Stafford, Brian Tarnowski, Tane Hodison, Michael Davis, Steve Herring, and Randall Watkins making up your top 10. So, you know, if I had to have some secondary picks, it would be Tarnowski and Watkins. That's for sure here. But right now, the smart money lays on Mike Wright and Brandon Minto, 2 teammates, one from Greensboro, North Carolina, the other out of Norman, Oklahoma. Norman, Oklahoma, just a stone's throw away from Henrietta, Oklahoma. Can you guess which athlete, which Hall of Fame athlete comes from Henrietta, Oklahoma?
Oh, man.
He wears a gold jacket, has 3 Lombardi trophies, one Super Bowl MVP to his credit, first round draft pick out of UCLA, 1989. Literally the first draft pick of a Hall of Fame coach.
Oh.
And the most handsome man in all of broadcast television.
The most handsome man?
Yes, sir. Troy Kenneth Aikman, Henrietta, Oklahoma.
That's who I was drawing a blank.
That's fine. Mike Wright, with control of the field, opts for the high side with his teammate just below him. They hit the restart zone and we're back underway. Brandon Minto not going to get the same jump that Wright does, but Mike Wright going to slide right in front of Minto now. So they're going to control this field as they have the ability now to split themselves high and low if they need to take that runaway from the high side.
Yeah, but Rich Jett there, he's on the inside, and so is Joe Stafford. I think the inside line's pretty strong right now, but as you see that number 92 truck, he is making a run on the inside there. That's Jacob Fifield, and he's bringing the 59 truck of Michael Denks with them on that outside. So
anywhere there's someone from the 215 area code is always the strongest. You trust me, sir. As Joe Stafford out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, now running in 4th position. Just behind him, though, is where a lot of this gets hairy. So we see Brian Tarnowski tearing along the backside of Jacob Fifield. They are like a salad bowl back here, everybody kind of jostling for position. The 04 getting out of the way of the 4. So all of a sudden, Tony Burt has the ability now to draft up behind Michael Astuto. And waiting to see that happen. Looks like he's not gonna, as we are now 20 to go here at Daytona.
Ethan Eckert is all the way back up to 15th right now. And Ron Fitting has got to be the nervous Nelly with, Ethan Eckert behind him.
Oh, and they're wrecking behind him. What in the world? Michael Astuto sideways coming through the grass.
I think that one might have pegged Chris Claude's fun meter for the night.
Well, let's see here. We're going to take a look right from Astuto for the time being. As we're looking high above here from the blimp, which happened to be in the neighborhood. Actually, a little bit of net code there with Tony Bird. I didn't see any actual contact, so this may be able to be blamed on net code. Let's take a look here from the nose of Tony Bird. Gonna rotate this camera over here. Well, maybe there was... Gosh, that's close. Let's try one more angle here from Tony's perspective. As now all of a sudden everything locked up. There we go. It didn't like that, did it?
It did not.
Let's check here from the left front suspension of Tony. That's not going very well either. Let's see if we can see this from Tony Bird. Now that it wants to listen to me. And that's not how. There we go. Here comes Tony. Yeah, it's interesting. The computer doesn't want to show that. See one more angle here, maybe from the chase camera if we can. Here it's gonna be. Let's see if Tony actually... Yeah, that was net code. They were probably gonna make contact anyway.
That was definitely net code.
They were probably going to make contact, but it is what it is now. So that's going to trigger the 6th caution of the evening here. 4th caution for cause, so not a bad thing overall if we're going to review that. Mike Wright and Brandon Minto going to be 1 and 2 once again. Jacob Fifield and Rich Jett going to be 3 and 4. Brian Tarnowski making up the top 5. He was timed coming across the line just before Joe Stafford when the caution flew. Then, of course, Michael Danks, Richard Pruitt, Randall Watkins, Jamie Beasley, and that will be your top 10. The faster pastor out of contention here. So that leaves out of my my 4 picks here, Randall Watkins and Brian Tarnowski seem to be the last drivers here on Survivor Island.
Hopefully the tribe hasn't spoken yet.
We want to thank everybody for joining us here on the YouTube.com live chat. As Barbara Pinion still cheering on Stony Benfield. Alex Princeton said, gotta go from Simrig to Real World ER. Get it? Oh, okay. I hope everything's all right, Alex. I'll send you a message later to check in on you. Dragons are on saying he'd like to see a dirt road course or a super speedway in iRacing. I couldn't imagine super speedway racing on dirt. And
no.
Dragon, the only new movie I've seen recently, since you've asked, is Oppenheimer. Just watched that over the weekend, and what a great film that was. Very long. Get comfy and make sure you go to the bathroom first, but a good film. It was very, very good.
I haven't seen anything new lately, but gosh, there just ain't been nothing that piqued my interest here lately. But I will have to give Oppenheimer a shot. I'm seeing it on the on Peacock, so
It is over on Peacock. Of course, the only reason that I subscribe to Peacock is because of that playoff game for the Chiefs earlier on in the playoffs.
Wait,
so
which
I
one?
definitely did exactly what NBC wanted me to do. And apparently Dragon's saying that they recommend that we watch Godzilla -1. I'm not a Godzilla kind of guy. Really not. Look, it's Godzilla. It only looks like Godzilla. But due to international copyright laws, it's not.
I got Peacock for well, I get to watch all the wrestling there. So
I think the next thing that I really want to see as far as movies goes is I'm drawn to the Wonka movie. So I'd kind of like to see where Grandpa Joe came from. He's a POS.
well, anyways, Mike.
Grandpa Joe lays in bed for 20 years, letting his poor daughter go wash other people's underwear, letting his grandson go ahead and sell newspapers and deliver them for like $0.25 a day. They get themselves a loaf of bread, and that's a banquet. And this guy's still smoking, a pipe. Oh, it's just one pipe a day. And the kid, for whatever reason, decides, oh, I'll buy your tobacco.
Well, here's the thing. I'm an old school Willy Wonka guy. Never did get to.
No, I don't like the Tim Burton Willy Wonka. That's for sure. But I am so bothered by Grandpa Joe. You lay in bed for 20. What are you doing for 20 years? Did you see his nightshirt? It looked like he had urine on his nightshirt.
It did.
Not only that, but then, what was the reason he couldn't get out of bed? Maybe if the floor wasn't so cold. Hey, maybe if you went to work, you'd be able to put another piece of coal in the furnace and keeping it warm. And don't get me started. Grandpa Joe is a POS. That's all there is to it. Getting back to the race, however, Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, and Brian Tarnowski lead this piece, the top three. And Tarnowski getting a little fishy here as we go down the backstretch. Tarnowski trying to hold on to the coattails of Brandon Minto in the 12 as we go underneath the Goodyear blimp here. Tarnowski going to get a nice little push once they come back onto the front stretch from Joe Stafford. And the top line just doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Randall Watkins swinging to the inside as that low line suddenly getting itself some momentum here. If Brian Tarnowski could get just a little bit further ahead, he could slide right up in front of Jacob Fifield in the 92, and maybe they could make a little something happen.
Yeah, so Brian Tarnowski there, running P3. I would like to see Brian Tarnowski get up to that high line on with you and see if they can make something happen.
14 laps to go here at Daytona. We're watching Jacob Fifield side by side with Brian Tarnowski. These drivers have been basically side by side since the green flag flew. I mean, for 86 laps, now 87, we've watched these guys basically battle it out with no real estate available on the racetrack away from where these tires are running on the asphalt. Coming up into the draft now is Sylvain Jolie. But Ethan Eckert running in 13th position, Randall Watkins in 10th, Michael Danks in 8th, Joe Stafford in 6th, Jacob Fifield in 4th, and here we are watching Brian Tarnowski running in 3rd position as he didn't have such great luck in the Cup or Xfinity Series. Looks like it's all finally coming together now for Brian, coming through turns 3 and 4 with 13 laps to go.
13 to go. Here comes Brian Tarnowski. He's running P3. Dave, I'd like to see him go to the outside line. I really would. I think that would be the best move he's got right now. I don't think he's going to be.
I'd like to see Brian Tarnowski go to victory lane, pal. All of a sudden, the 92 with some connection issues, Alan.
Tarnowski's not going to get there riding in P3.
Well, but he's going to put some distance behind himself. If Tarnowski and Stafford can stay together, those two drivers have been in this league longer than anybody in the top 5. But those two drivers have been together longer than anybody in the top 5, and really, as I'm looking through the top 10, they are the most seasoned SNN drivers in the top 10. So if I was anybody, I'd be on the race radio saying to Joe Stafford, hey man, listen, you and I have been putting up with this crap for a long time. I need to get my dub. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So listen, my heart goes for Brian Tarnowski here running in 4th position.
Yeah, don't look now, but Ethan Eckert has made it back up to 11 somehow, and he's on the inside line, and right now he's making me nervous with all get.
Well, listen, I'm sure it's not just us he's making nervous. It's not even us that he's racing against. All of a sudden, he's got that DOT plow on the front of that thing. I didn't realize the F-150 could do that at 180 miles per hour.
If Pennsylvania Department of Transportation is looking for any snowplow drivers, get a hold of Ethan Eckert.
Do you lock the hubs on an F-150 if you're going to use it like a snowplow or not?
So my father had an 82, and you actually had to get out and lock the hubs in.
Yeah, no thank you. A little bit of a wobble here from Tarnowski. I'll never forget the first time I experienced the Ford Let's Lock the Hubs at the fire department where I grew up in. We had a 1997 Ford F-350. I went to slap it into 4-wheel drive, and it wasn't gripping right. I had all kinds of shake in my wheel, and I'm thinking, what the heck's going on? So I said to the guy riding shotgun, I said, what's going on here? He goes, did you lock the hubs? And I'm like, what do you mean lock the hubs? I drive a Dodge. And he's like, yeah, it's a 97 Ford. You gotta lock them hubs up there. It was weird enough that it had 2 gas tanks.
Yeah, you actually had to get out there and turn it to lock on each side. And my father pushed a lot of snow, so I had to run out. He wanted me to go snow plowing with him, so he didn't have to get out of the truck. He was nice and cozy and a little loud, trying to lock the hubs in. I figured out, played stupid.
Side by side for 3 rows in a row. Looks like all of a sudden Jacob Fifield trying to lead this top line, not getting a whole lot of momentum as now they've got to get out of the way of Stoney Benfield, who's running on the... Oh, no! There goes Tarnowski!
Tarnowski, save it. Keep it straight. Keep it straight.
Oh!
That one might have done it, man.
That's the end of Tarnowski for the evening.
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't think he even had too much damage, though.
I feel like I jinxed every driver I wanted to do well in this race.
I'll be the black cloud.
We're going to see this right from Tarnowski's hood. He gets past Stoney Benfield. Well, that's not very helpful. Let's see if we can see this from the drone cam. As we're going to pull that one up. Maybe not. There it is. Well, we'll try this one. There we go. Looks like the 24 gets sucked down into him. That one's hard to figure out too. Let's see if we can see this from the far chase drone, as that was in the neighborhood. There's Tarnowski. Honestly, I think I'd call that a racing deal.
Yeah, no one's really at fault for that one.
Yeah, that's definitely more like a racing deal. But that's going to shake some things up here. That's with 7 laps to go. We're under caution for the 7th time, the 5th time for cause. So when we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Mike Wright, Jacob Fifield, his team, Mike Wright's teammate Brandon Minto. So they're going to be 1 and 3. Minto's going to be right behind Wright. Rich Jett, Ethan Eckert in 5th.
That's almost what Mike Wright needed. Would his teammate be 3rd?
Let's see if we can maybe help Brian out here and see if he's got any damage.
Right rear of the truck.
My. Yeah, That's not what you want to see. I don't think that wheel... I mean, I'm not a car guy per se. I don't think that wheel's supposed to be sideways like that.
Nope.
Well, hopefully he's got AAA.
He gonna need it today.
Kavaja Holt now creeping his way into 6th position. Kavaja with a pretty clean vehicle here. As we're going to take a peek here from our drone cam. Oof.
I love the drone.
That'll make you dizzy.
I think I'm gonna agree with you here. I think it'd be either Brandon Minto or Mike Wright that gets the victory here tonight.
Brandon Minto is the 2023 MNN Xfinity Series champion, so he knows how to get it done in this league against these same drivers in many cases. I got to be honest, though, if I'm rooting against somebody, he's up here in the top 5, and that's just a shame.
Yeah.
And to answer Dragon Zaran's question here in the YouTube.com live chat, no, I do not watch IndyCar. It's not that I'm against open wheel racing. It's just not my thing. I've tried. I've given it a try, just kind of like I've given basketball a try. It's just strange. Some of the terminology doesn't really work for me.
Okay, I have a question for you, though. Have you ever been to a big block modified race up there in Pennsylvania?
No.
Okay.
No. I would like to get up to Oswego in New York and check out some dirt track racing. I grew up probably 20 minutes away from a really good dirt track over at Shellhammers in Leesport, PA, and of course Big Diamond in just outside of Pottsville, PA. I was about 40 minutes away from, and never got a chance to go to either one of them.
Man, for me, one on my bucket list is Oswego, and that's for the Super Dirt Week stuff. Love to watch the Billy Decker 200.
Yeah, Tony Trapasso was always trying to get to Oswego. He lived up in Syracuse, so not too far away.
And Mike Wright, though, he's trying to put that 98 truck in victory lane tonight as we are getting ready to come back to green with about 5 laps to go. And the iRacing.com pace car has its lights out, and the lights are out on around the speedway. Here we get ready to go back to green flag racing. And Mike, I think Brandon Minto has to get around his teammate. But nonetheless, iRacing.com pace car pulls off of the racetrack here momentarily. He's gonna make that left hard left turn. Mike Wright on the inside. Jacob Fifield on the outside. Through the Geico restart zone. Mike Wright is down and away. Brandon Minto right on his back bumper. Brandon Minto's glued to the back bumper, actually, of Mike Wright. And here comes Ethan Eckert trying to catch up, both of them. But which person is going to be Ethan Eckert victim?
The 92 of Jacob Fifield throws the block in front of Eckert. He's now holding him off to keep him off of the podium. Now Eckert stuck to him like glue going down the back chute. Looks like Eckert trying to push the 92 to the victory. But 4 to go And I'll tell you what, with 4 laps to go, I would never, ever, ever count out the 98 or the 12. So as long as Eckert can hold it steady, he's going to wind up on the podium. But side by side, they come out of turn number 4 with now 3 laps to go at the line. Kane Hodgson and TJ Hanley running back in 5th and 6th, kind of waiting to see if anything crazy breaks out here. As Mike Wright, Jacob Fifield, and Brandon Minto are 1, 2, 3 as we go. Ethan Eckert pushing along Jacob Fifield nearly into the lead. There it is, just ahead of Mike Wright.
Ethan Eckert's got to keep that straight. Don't move in and out like that. That's not a very good drafting partner right there right now. Look how wobbly that 40 truck is.
Coming out of turn number 4, whoa, a little bit loose there, but coming out of turn number 4, the popsicle sticks go in the air, 2 to go.
Jacob Fifield right now in the lead, but here comes the 98 truck of Mike Wright. Does he have enough? Does Brandon Mitchell have enough to push Mike Wright? As Ethan Eckert gonna jump out and try to make it 3 wide. Jacob Fifield stuck in the middle.
3 wide they are as Ethan Eckert just got shuffled out of the way. It goes Mike Wright and Brandon Minto. Don't look now, though. Jacob Fifield getting a shot here as they haul it into turn number 3. Looks like Fifield duking it out here, trying to hold back half the field as they're 3 wide behind him. The 83 of TJ Hanley going to give him that push here from behind. 2 laps to go. The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Side by side goes Jacob Fifield and Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma. They are duking it out like a couple of kids here on the schoolyard. All of a sudden, Ethan Eckert gets shuffled back here in the pile. The 92 of Jacob Fifield takes over 3rd position. He's got Mitchell Davies, a name that we haven't even called tonight, as Davies is now pushing Fifield to the lead. All of a sudden,
here we go.
Ethan, wow,
here we go.
What a run they have!
Here we go.
Eckert just slides right in front of Mike Wright, cutting his nose off. This race is only just starting here in turn 4. As they come out of turn number 4, Jacob Fifield leading Ethan Eckert and Mike Wright as it's all kinds of a fan out behind him. A shove from Mike Wright. Oh! Nearly getting the win is Ethan Eckert. Jacob Fifield, your race winner here at Daytona, followed by Ethan Eckert and Mike Wright from Greensboro, North Carolina, doing a little pirouette down here, entering turn number 1. Congratulations to Jacob Fifield, our winner here tonight in the Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series in the Onondaga Community College from Horseheads, New York, the eNASCAR Series College Series driver. He's followed on the podium by Ethan Eckert in the number 40 Bombardier Ford F-150 and Mike Wright in the 98 Pennzoil machine, finishing in 3rd. Let's see if we can get a hold of Jacob Fifield. Hey, Jacob, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Yo, congratulations, man. You came out of nowhere here on that final lap as you go ahead and burn it down in the grass. What a finish tonight.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, you were kind of hanging out and just, being around the front all night. Was that part of the strategy, or, was this one of those situations where, you were going to see what happened and what fell through on the race?
Well, right away, the team was, first stage we tried to hang back, to see how everyone was kind of feeling, kind of feel out the lead pack, that sort of thing. But we made a call in the second stage to kind of move towards the front, and yeah, just worked out.
Worked out, it did. I mean, listen, you got a heck of a push there from Ethan here on the last lap. I mean, at this point in the season, now you've punched your ticket to the playoffs. Obviously, you're an eNASCAR College Series driver. How much does your experience in the eNASCAR College Series translate here into, a bunch of amateurs?
Oh, it transfers so much. I mean, those guys race day in and day out. they're just skilled drivers. You know, you can race pretty much inches from them and, you know, never wreck. So being able to race around those guys every week is just amazing. I feel like I've improved so much from it.
Excellent. Well, listen, congratulations on the win here tonight at Daytona. You can tick off that on your bucket list if you haven't done so already. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and tip your helmet to?
Thank you to Gorilla Gas, best setups out there. Thank you to my teammates Jarrett and TJ for helping me throughout the race. Also to John Crow. And yeah, let's get him again next week.
All right, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Alan, I believe you have with you right now Ethan Eckert, driver of the number 40, finishing second on the podium tonight.
Ethan, it's Alan and Dave in the SRM booth. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Brought home a P2 to AMA. I'm happy.
So, you know, that last lap, you know, what made you jump out, abandon that outside line?
I knew that if I stayed up there, I just kind of did it out of instinct. I knew the bottom would have been my best chance. I would have gotten blocked if I would have stayed high. And I kept my foot in it and tried to get up high as soon as I could after I got low to get around the car in front of me. And then I got the push and it just wasn't enough.
All right. And so, you know, next week we're going to Atlanta. What's your mindset as we head to the next race here at Atlanta?
Just go out there and have fun. That's what I'm here for.
All right. And is there any, before we get you out there, is there anybody that you'd like to thank to help get you here tonight?
Yeah, thanks to Noah, owner of AMA, and thanks for Tane for the nice paint scheme and stuff. Got first in stage 2, so yeah.
All right. So we'll go ahead and get you on out here, and you'll celebrate that P2 with your teammates.
Awesome. Thank you.
And finally, and certainly not least, driver of the number 98 Ford F-150 Pennzoil machine, Mike Wright out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, buddy, Dave.
Listen, our first conversation of the season up here. I mean, look, here you are finishing on the podium in your first race here in the truck series of the season. Take us through this race and how you wound up, you know, basically starting where you or finishing where you started.
Yeah, you read it on a piece of paper. It seems pretty simple. Third and third, right?
Yeah,
that's not how it happened, though.
No.
That's not how it happened.
Not at all.
So we came in the race. We had 3 trucks that in practice, the 3 of us were running lap times that were at or faster than the pack was. So we decided we were just going to save the cars or the trucks for the end of the race. So that meant we just kept pitting and going to the back and trying to stay out of the wreckage. And then we had that restart. I guess it was the restart to start stage 3, and there was a big checkup, and a Studo in the 39 got separated from us. So then Brandon and I kind of got linked up with 2 guys, caught back up with the pack, and then Brandon and I were able to pit by ourselves and come out as the lead. We just leapfrogged everybody in the pit stops, and from that point on, I was going to be very, very surprised if anybody had a run on the outside to pass us by themselves. And then it ended up that pretty much everybody had to line up on the outside to make it happen, and they cleared us by 1 or 2 trucks. So we ended up where we were, kind of boxed in, and third it is, but didn't wreck till after the finish line. So that's a win.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a win is a win, you know, when you're up there on the top of the pile. But, you know, finishing in third, that puts you in a pretty comfortable spot, you know, coming out of Daytona. Next week we go to Atlanta, and those 1.5 mile tracks are usually your bread and butter. But Atlanta kind of runs like a super speedway these days. So what are you thinking next week for strategy?
You're going to see, especially in the trucks, you're going to see something similar to what you saw here. There's not as much space. Even here, I mean, you could go 3 wide, but it's very difficult. Atlanta is very snug for 3 wide. The track's shorter, so you're not going to be able to see any real pit strategy as far as pitting and staying on the lead lap to try to leapfrog that way. So everybody's going to somewhat pit at a similar time. I don't know. We'll talk about it. I think think Atlanta's a little bit harder to run in the back just because it's harder to make up time when it's time to go. Even here at Daytona, we used a pit stop to jump to the front, so that made that a lot easier. So we'll see. I'm much more on the mile and a half that you have to let off at. Those are definitely more fun, and I feel like everything's more in your control. There's a skill to this for sure, and it can be fun until it isn't, and then it sucks.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, your bread and butter tracks are definitely those mile and a half. So I know that Alan and I are going to get a chance to see that several times this season. So a good start to the 2024 truck season. As always, who do you need to tip your helmet to this night?
Brandon and Mike put some good laps in to try to figure out what we needed. We had a pretty good setup. Obviously, if we could run 3 trucks by ourselves faster than the pack, that's always helpful to have in your pocket. And then just, I think tonight, we had some cautions there at the end, but overall tonight was a fairly clean race. I've definitely seen worse and seen better at times, but it was a pretty clean race. Everybody was respectful there at the end, which is nice. I don't think anybody really wadded it up coming to the checkered. So Chris, for putting it on, you doing your job in the booth, and I know you'll be kind of in and out depending on what kind of coverage you get, but I think we're all happy when you're there watching us. At least we have a few people to give some shows to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm always glad to be able to see you guys and hang out, especially here on Tuesday nights and Monday nights. These are the ones that are closest to my heart. So I appreciate you, Mike, and good luck next week at Atlanta. Hopefully we'll see you there. I'm not sure what the schedule is going to do for us, but we'll see what happens as we move here through the 2024 season.
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, Alan, another one in the books here, the first one of the 2024 season in the Truck Series, and, for your first night here with us, at least in the Truck Series, you got to be satisfied.
If you weren't excited over that finish, don't even watch. as one Kyle Busch would say.
If you don't like that, then you probably shouldn't have been watching in the first place.
Right. No, that was exciting, So, man, I just can't get over that. They were 2 or 3 wide, and, what you had to say, Ethan Eckert, he had a snowplow in the front of his truck there, earlier in the race, and kind of got into people, didn't really make any friends. But at the end of the night, he still got on the podium.
Without a doubt, we're going to take one final look at our results here from Daytona, right here on Sim Racing Media as we pull up that graphic with our final results. Jacob Fifield brings home the checkered flag in the opening night of the 2024 Truck Series season. He's followed on the podium by Ethan Eckert and, of course, Mike Wright. Mitchell Davies brings home 4th position, a name that we didn't even call until that last lap. Brandon Minto rounds out your top 5, while Tane Hodison, Joe Stafford, Aaron Mack, TJ Handley, and Rich Jett bring home top 10 honors. Kavaja Holt finishes in 11th, while Michael Astuto and Matt Mackin come home in 12th and 13th. Chris Claude finishes in 14th, followed by Chris Custer, Jamie Beasley, Michael Danks, and Jeremiah Mullins in 18th position. Finishing in 19th, Randall Watkins from Miami-Dade County. Sean Kelly and Brian Tarnowski bring home 20th and 21st. Richard Pruitt and Sylvain Jolie finish 22nd and 23rd, while the faster Pastor Stoney Benfield comes home in 24th. 25th belongs to Nolan Hodgson, while Jeremy Paris and Tony Burt follow in 26th and 27th. Down here in 28th, Ron Fitting and Steve Herring in 29th. Diego Rodriguez comes home just ahead of Gabriel Lafreniere in 31st. And last in the field, Mr. Raymond Ferreira getting the start tonight. He comes home in 32nd. 33rd goes to Alex Princeton, who, according to the Infield Care Center, may be nursing now a broken wrist. We're going to have to follow up with him as the season goes on. 35th goes to John Crow Sr., and Nick Hansen finishes final in the field after just 35 laps in the 99 in 36. So, Alan, it has been an exciting opening night here. I'm out of breath and out of gas, and I can't believe what I saw on the racetrack tonight.
I can't either. I mean, what a race. You know.
Well, we're just at the beginning of the 2024 season, so I want to encourage everybody to tune in and give your support to this league. We will not be full-time here in the booth as scheduling and sponsorships allow. However, we want to make sure that everybody is still tuned in as best they can to, of course, the Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series right here on Sim Race Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Alan Bergen. We want to thank you for making us a part of your evening. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.